Love this house. You are not going to talk them into staying here.
Hey, I can convince people to do anything. You know, I bet I could even get Mike to do that thing. What is it? I am not going to help you do that.
For another week.
But he's courtside. The cheerleaders are going to be right in... That's not the way to convince you.
I don't want to be one of those wives that says, you can't go to the game. You have to spend time with me.
I bet if I talked to Carol and Susan, I could convince them to move to London with Ben.
Yeah, I'm sure your ex-wife would be more than happy to move to another country so you can patch things up with your new wife.
Are you lying? Is this like that time you tried to convince us you were a doctor?
I am a doctor. You know what? I'm just going to go and talk to Rachel myself.
In English vocabulary, we will learn the word convince. It means to move by argument or evidence to belief, agreement, consent, or a course of action. To convince a jury of his guilt, a test drive will convince you that this car handles well. Also means to persuade, cajole. We finally convinced them to have dinner with us. Pay attention to the pronunciation. The first one is the word represented using the International Phonetic Alphabet. To pronounce convince, have in mind that the size of the syllable indicates where the accent or stress is. In this case, the accent is in the second syllable, corresponding to vins. Below are other ways to pronounce it. Now, let's see how convince is used in real life.
I could convince them to move to London with Ben.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, convince her that you're scared of commitment.
Hey, I can convince people to do anything. You know, I bet
Is this like that time you tried to convince us you were a doctor? I don't have time to convince you because he's only...
That's not the way to convince you.
Well, I did my best to convince him that I'm not some crazy...
Take the test at accent101.com to find out si sabes inglés o hablas inglés.